Hello friends, it's Jayma Malme here, and today I'm going to share a layout with 15 photos. I'm excited because this is one of my biggest requests, is ideas to fit lots of photos on our layouts, because we all take tons of photos at our events, right? And this is no exception. We went on a holiday train ride and I have lots of photos that I want to fit on here. Now I also have this little paraphernalia that's going to kind of take a photo spot, and I have a 5x7 photo here that's pretty big, so that's going to be one page. And then we're going to fit lots of photos on this page in a grid style. That is a great way to fit lots of photos. And I'm also going to bring in Pocket Plus. So first I want to talk about the photos for just a moment. So we went on this train ride. This was the first year we did it. We did it again this year, but this was last year. And at the end, you can buy the professional photographer's photos. They are overpriced, but we have to do it. It's the only one that we got of the four of us. And this was just such a fun, memorable train ride. We really wanted this keepsake. So we have this photo, and I was considering putting it in here with the frame. It's got this cute little Christmas scene on it, and it really would go with the paper that I'm going to use. I'm going to use a bunch of scraps for this, so I'll talk about that in just a moment. But I think what I'm going to do, so I took it out of the frame because I have two of these and I keep one on display, so I do still have one in the frame. I may stick this in the pocket in the page protector behind my layout and just kind of keep it in there like a pocket basically. But I'm going to try it without it. Maybe I'll add it later. We'll see. But I'm thinking that my 5x7 is going to go over here with the little paraphernalia. We'll cover my husband's beer down there. Not that I really care, but you know, he's just kind of like holding it down. It seems kind of out of place. He's trying to hide it. So we will just kind of cover that, and we'll have some paper scraps. I'm going to do lots of fun layering. And then over here, I think there's 7 photos here, and then there's some photos here. Now I already separated these because there's all of the photos that were on the train, and we have kind of like this warm lighting. It's not real great lighting, but it's warm, and we're on the train and it's all kind of the same lighting. And then over here we have a bunch of photos of us waiting in line before we got on the train, and it's different lighting. It's a lot brighter. I love this photo of my husband and I, but they're really cute and festive. This one's on the train, but it's not as good as some of these, and so I'm going to put these in the Pocket Plus page protectors. Now we have a couple of options for these Pocket Plus. Now I've shown these several times on my channel. These are one of my favorite ways to add lots of photos on your layout, because you can just stick a bunch of extra photos in here and just put it right between your pages, and it flips along with the pages, but you're not totally hiding the layout. You know that these pages go together because you can see that they match, and you know that these go with it because they're just sandwiched right there in between. Now you could make them kind of be a part of the design, so kind of do a layout where you've got a split down the middle and you've got some photos over here, and I'm kind of gonna do that, but I just don't even worry about building this into the design of the page. I just put it in there sort of as an afterthought. I mean, it could be an afterthought, but even though I know I'm gonna do it, but I just, you know, stick all the photos I have in here, and I'll create my own pocket cards. I can add journaling, so I'll add my journaling in a pocket in here, and so I'll show you that at the end. Now there are 2 styles that will work for this. This style has the 4x6 landscape, and so there's 3, and you have both sides that you can use. This style is actually retired, but it is still available, so if you like the portrait 3x4s, go and grab them on my website, because I don't know how much longer they'll be around. It's just while supplies last now. But even though I have a 4x6 and then some 3x4s, we can make either of these work. So the way we would do that is, if I were to use the 3x4s, I could just cut this photo in half and put half on one side and half on the other. I decided I don't want to do that though, because it would basically cut my son's face in half. So what I will do is use the 4x6. So if you're watching these after those 3x4s are gone, don't worry, because you can still use these pretty much in the same way. So I'll add this here. And then our other photos, we'll just add them like they're 3x4. So we'll just add them right there next to each other. And the way I do that is usually put like cut a 4x6 piece of cardstock, and then I'll mount these together, or in this case I'll probably have them staggered, like have this one here and then this one down here, and then I can have a little decorative element like a pocket card with a little sticker that I make, and some journaling here, and then on the back I can do the same thing. I can kind of stagger them and then make my own pocket cards and add little decorative elements. So I actually wish I had a couple more photos. Maybe I can find some more that I can print, because then I can add a couple more to the back as well. So these ones I'll set aside and I will do the insert later. And then I still have all of these photos that I want to fit. And so I think I'm going to do, like I mentioned, like a grid style layout. Now you may notice I have this 12 by 12 paper underneath. What I'm thinking is that I'm going to cut this down to maybe 11 inches. So I have a 1/2 inch border of this all the way around. I will gut this out so we don't waste this middle. And so then this will be cut about here, and we'll have our side here. And then same thing over here, we'll have about a 1/2 inch on each side. And then we'll do kind of a grid. And it's not going to be real even because my photos are not real even. And I'm thinking I want this one on top because my eye was kind of drawn here first. And I really love this cute photo of the kids. And then I'll probably matte this one different and make it maybe even double matted, or make it in a different color matte to make it stand out, because I love this one of them with Santa. And then these ones, so that they'll fit in a grid format, I have room to crop this one. So I'll probably crop the bottom off of that so it lines up with this one. And then this one I'll probably cut a little bit from the top, and then a little bit from the bottom as well. And that way they'll basically line up at the bottom. And then over here, I'm gonna have it be like an embellishment spot. So I have some embellishments that I've pulled. A lot of these are from the Home for Christmas collection, which is what I'm using. This Christmas collection is no longer available, unfortunately. It was in the September-October catalog, but I still have some elements from the scrapbooking workshop. This one is from, I think, last year, this ho ho ho. I thought that might be cute to add somewhere in here. And then I have these tags too. And so I was thinking maybe this could kind of tuck over here. And so we've got our grid. This will all be nice and lined up. And then one of the things I love doing with grids is doing a pattern interrupt, where it's all nice and even, and then you have one area where you've interrupted that nice even pattern. So I can have this little tag kind of tuck in here, and then maybe have some strip stickers here and a little cluster here. I'll do a cluster here, probably in here, so then we have our visual triangle. So that is kind of what I'm thinking. I do have the French vanilla cardstock because that's what goes with this paper, but also it's a little bit softer because we have all of these warm colors in the photos. So I'll go ahead and cut everything down, and then we'll come back and start assembling our page. Okay, I have laid out my photos. I ended up cutting this one down to a square too, otherwise it was hard to fit all of these across when it was a 4x3. And then I matted everything in white. And I want to add a matte to at least these two. So I'm trying to decide between the red and the green. I've already cut these down, and I gutted the back of the pattern paper. I could have gutted the back of the red as well. I just decided not to. I have so much of it. And so I was playing with the red matte, but I think it competes with this too much. I did end up adding this little red matte here. I thought it just helped bring everything together and make it look really festive. So then I have this one in pine, and I really like that. I like the contrast of the red and the green. So I think I'm gonna do that. I have like this little fold in the photo. I think probably my kids were holding it and it got bent a little bit. So I may try to cover it up with this, but I don't know, it might cover up a little bit too much of the photo. I might just kind of ignore it. I don't know, we'll see, but I just wanted to point that out. You can always kind of try to hide things with embellishments or paraphernalia or something like that. And then over here, I probably will matte it in the same green. Yeah, I don't like the red because she's wearing pink, and this is so warm that I don't really like the warm red with all of this warm. So here is a pine matte for that one as well. I cut a bunch of black mats. This is actually 4x6. I was surprised it doesn't look 4x6. And I liked the black matte on this because we have a lot of black here. The red, again, was bringing in too much warmth, and I like that it's framing this. And then the rest of the red is going to be like in my hat, and then I'll have a few red embellishments. I didn't want the red matte. And so I thought, since I'm matting this in black, I wanted to try matting these in black, and I did this all off camera. I didn't just cut everything and cross my fingers. I did try it off camera, and I really liked it. So I have just a thin matte. I did a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch. So I like how we're drawing the black over here now. But then I had a problem once I got all of these matted. Then this did not line up right. So when I have everything spaced out, it's kind of hard because I don't have these mats glued down yet, but it's kind of like this. Then I have too much space here. So see how now it doesn't line up, and if I do line it up, it's going to be too much space here. So I decided to triple matte this one. So we'll matte it in black, and then I will matte it again in the green because I really liked how the green stood out and was different. And so now this will all line up and form my nice neat grid all the way around. I may even do that to this one now too. It's okay, I use black and pine scraps all the time. I'm sure I will end up using these for other projects. Okay, so I am really liking that. I like how these are triple matted and they have the green, so your eye is drawn to both sides, and then we're also going to have embellishment clusters around this one and then over here, so your eye will be drawn here and drawn all the way across. Now, I had a bunch of scraps in my paper pack, so I wanted to try to use these. Some of my favorite layouts that I do have lots of layering of just scraps. So I want to be mindful of the fact that I do have the green border, so the green on the green doesn't show up super well. So I might do something like this and then layer that behind there, so now our mat stands out. And then maybe add this one over here. So you can do a lot with scraps. If you're at the end of your paper pack and you just have these scraps left, try just layering up like this because it's really fun and it ends up looking really cute. So I've got the plaid drawing down here. I might even add in, I want to add a little bit of differentiation between this one, and I know I have this in here, so I want to just have a little bit peeking out maybe, just to add a little bit of break between the pattern. I think I like that, so let's try that over on this side too. I'll cut these down so that what's hidden behind there is not just wasted. I think I want to tuck a little bit of this back there, so this won't be showing. I'll cut that off. It'll be cut off like here. But I think I like that. I feel like I need some of this pattern down here. So let's see what that looks like. Just a little piece. I don't like it. I don't like it being drawn here. We're gonna have our clusters here, and this kind of draws attention down here, and it's not going to be part of a cluster. I think we'll be okay without that. I want to do a little bit of that over here as well. So maybe bring just a little bit of this pattern over. I just had another idea too. Let me play with this. The problem with when I Scrapbook is as I get going, I just keep getting more and more ideas. And then sometimes it's just hard to stop. Maybe something like that. It might end up changing. But what my idea was is to add some stenciling in the background. Very subtle stenciling, but like a Christmas pattern back here because we have a lot of white. I do have a little embellishing I want to do here, but I think that a really subtle stencil is gonna work well. So I'm gonna take a picture of this because I wanna keep this exactly how I have it. I may change this a little bit, but I'm gonna take a picture. That way, when I clear all this off to do stenciling, I can put it right back where I had it. All right, so I have this stencil here with the pine branches and holly leaves and berries. I made this on my Cricut and I showed exactly how I did this in one of the Creative Design Team membership classes. And I think this is gonna look really, really good stenciled over here on my page. And then I have this solar paste. This is from Simon Hurley. It's the golden hour color. And it's just this really very subtle gold sheen. It's so pretty. Now this shows up really, really well on dark cardstock, but since I wanted a subtle look, I thought that it would look really good with the gold that we have in here. And I have another idea for adding a little bit of gold in other places as well. And I thought it would just play off of that really nicely, yet be subtle. So this is gonna take a little time to dry. So if you're gonna use a paste for stenciling, this is actually like a really, really creamy paste. It's lovely. Then make sure you have drying time, and it will warp your paper just a little bit too. So you can always flatten it out when you're done with a book or a scrapbook or something. Just put it under your scrapbook. It'll help flatten it out. But make sure you leave some drying time. And since I know I have my big photo here and my certificate here, I've got a little room up here showing and down here. So I think that's where I'm gonna focus this paste. And I'm just gonna put it on with my little spatula here. And the nice thing about stenciling is that it doesn't have to be perfect. You actually don't want it to be like a perfect square. So I'm not gonna go all the way to the edges. I want it to just kind of like feather out. So I don't want it to have like a harsh line or anything. Now this is gonna be, I think, hidden. I might go up a little bit further just in case. So that's mostly going to be hidden, and then have it just kind of come out and sort of feather off. So I like how that's looking. That'll come out from peeking behind there. And then I want to add just a little bit up here. So we'll do the same exact thing.
The reveal is always the best part. It looks so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, only I have a lot more pictures over here. So I really just have this upper right corner that's going to be peeking out, but I'll have a little bit of space between all of the photos. So I'm going to add just a little bit more stenciling in other parts of the page, just that will be peeking out from around the photos. Now, something I did over on the left page was I wasn't super even with the paste through the stencil because I was trying to be kind of fast. So it was a little bit uneven over here. So just be mindful of that.
This is now dried overnight, and I really hope that you're catching the sheen. I think the light is catching that. It's so pretty. I ended up coming back and fixing this spot, but it's a little bumpy. It's not super smooth. And you can see that some of these bigger spots have a little bit of a thinner area. That's just going fast. Make sure you have your palette knife completely flat and that you're dragging it and making it smooth, but it's okay. I still think it looks really, really pretty. And then here is the other side. So I really love that solar paste. It comes in lots of other colors as well. I figured I would just start with the gold. This is the only color I have. And I showed in my membership class how to color it in a variety of different ways, and it had a really cool effect. So I'm going to put everything back together based on my picture, and then we will come back.
So I've got everything back in place now, and I'm going to add my tape runner to the back of this photo, and I'm being pretty generous with the tape because I want it to stick to all of those scraps, and then I can pick them up as one cohesive piece and just kind of add a little bit of extra tape here and there, which probably isn't totally necessary, but I just wanted to make sure that it stayed in place. And then I can just put tape on the back of this and put it down all as one piece. Like I said, this is a really great way to use your scraps. So if you have leftover scraps, if they all were from one pack or one collection and they go together, this often works really, really well. And it's a good way to draw extra attention to one of your favorite photos. Off screen, I colored these train pieces from the stamp and die set called Holiday Express. This is no longer available. It came out last year, but I've been holding on to it knowing that I had these photos coming up, and then I'll be documenting this again for our train ride this year. So I was really, really excited to add them to this page. And then I created my own title on the Cricut, and I put the font up on the screen. It's called Milkshake, and it was a free font from dafont.com. I get most of my fonts from dafont.com, and Milkshake has been a go-to lately. I shared in a video last year that one of my favorites is also Autumn in November, but I encourage you to just go through dafont.com and download some fonts that you like so that you can use them as titles in your own scrapbooking. Now this fun little ticket shape is from a stamp and die set called Admit One. There's a die for the ticket shape, and then there's like the little journaling lines, and then there's a bunch of little things that you can stamp on there, like round trip, happy birthday, surprise, Admit One, and then I used Holiday Express, which of course, how perfect is that? And I had also stamped a little bit of background stamping on it using the Design Elements stamp set, just to give it a little bit more pizzazz. And then I'm also going to come in with a gold paint marker and add a little bit of gold around the edges. This is just another way to tie in that gold that I've got in the background, the gold that's on that little certificate, and then I'm going to be pulling it in on the tags. I've got the one tag on the right, and I'm going to pull in another little piece of that tag over on the left to tie that together as well. And then these other little word strips are ones that I stamped using some sentiments from that Holiday Express set. I stamped them on a few different colors because I wasn't sure which colors I wanted to use. And so when I was stamping, it's easier for me just to kind of stamp it on a bunch and test them out than to try them and then think, nope, I want a different color, and then have to come back and stamp them. So a lot of times I'll stamp things or ink things in a few different colors before I even try them, just so I have options. And then I'll put whatever's left over in my stash, and I have them to use on other projects if I want. So here I'm trying to add a little bit more gold and that same tag look, but I'm not liking that tag. I didn't have another one exactly like the one on the right. So I'm going to just kind of play around with my embellishing and try out a few different things until I realize that I can cut a piece of that tag that's hidden behind the photo and just kind of tuck it over on the left. So that's what I'm going to end up doing. So I have a bunch of embellishments that were from this collection left over, like I mentioned. Some of the stickers from the sticker sheet, and I'm just trying them in a bunch of places. Now this one here, I like that little doily kind of partially sticking out, and realize, you know what, I can cut that in half. So I cut it in half, and then I'll be able to use the other half over in another spot. Here I'm bringing that gold pin back in. I realized I wanted to outline these little word strips. These are a lot like the word strips that come on a lot of sticker sheets, but I just made my own using stamps, and that is one of the things I love about stamps. And of course, I was able to make it the color that I wanted too, because I was able to customize it. So I have this little tray that I keep a lot of little leaf sprigs in, and I just keep it off to the side. I always have leaf sprigs on hand, and whenever I cut them, I cut a whole bunch of them because I use them all the time, so that they're really handy. So I added a few of those gold glitter leaf sprigs, and then I'm adding more gold paint pen to this little train to, of course, further that little theme that I have of the gold throughout the layout. I'm going to add a few little finishing touches here. I cut the doily paperboard pieces in half so I could add those in a couple of places. I thought I needed a little bit more rounded element because I have so many straight edges with all of those little scraps and everything. And then off screen, I added that little piece of tag right there under my thumb. And here's a close-up of how everything turned out. I'll have close-up photos over on Instagram and Facebook that you can go look at. I'll have all the links to my social media listed down below. And then I'm going to give you a look at that Pocket Plus insert in just a moment here as well. So like I mentioned, I have the 4x6 in the top, and then those 4x3 photos I just added with some paper. So here's a close-up look. I've got a 4x3 paper and some embellishments on the right of that one photo. And then on the back, I added some journaling right onto the photo. I showed a tip on how to do that in our membership in Canva. And then I really like this large title, so I used a photo here. I did end up printing a few more photos that I didn't mind covering up a lot of. And that way I have a little bit of photo peeking out, but I have that big sticker that I really wanted to use. So here on the screen is another video where I use lots of photos that I think you'll enjoy, and I hope that this gave you ideas for using lots of photos on your own layouts. Be sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope you have a wonderful day.